Hello guys, welcome back to my next instalment of these rehouses. We are going to do a bit of an enclosure build as well today. Not because I need to necessarily for this spider. It's just a bit of a tired old enclosure that I made myself. One of my old lanterns. And we are going to be rehousing the Avicularia, Guyana pink toe. We're moving it into an Exoterra 20 by 20 by 30, which will do it for the rest of its life. I don't know whether this is male or female. I've never managed to get a sexable moult. Or I think I did once, and I think it was female, but I really can't remember because I'm rubbish and I didn't mark the label. This will be I won't say bioactive, it will be a pseudo-realistic, naturalistic type thing, because I'm going to put plants in it, and that's about it. And springtails, there'll be some springtails. Sometimes I wonder whether I should write scripts, because I never remember half of what I'm supposed to say, and I basically just fly off the seat of my pants, or whatever that expression is. So anyway, yes, it is incredibly hot. This is the heat wave in the UK, hence a vest, my hair, and sweating. Horrible. But it is starting to cool down, which is quite nice. Anyway, enough of me umming and ahhing my way through this introduction. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell icon, all the other YouTubey stuff that people ask you to do. If you could do that for me, that would be lovely. I love you forever. Yeah, I'll show you what we're doing. So this is the poopy looking enclosure. I say poopy because it does look a bit poop now. And poop is everywhere because it's an avic and they love to poop all over your glass. Amazing spiders, but they like to poop all over your glass because they're wonderful. But I do really like avics. This is what we're going to be going into. I just need to moisten up this substrate. I have we've got a box of various bits of goodies down here. I've got some moss and some cork bark down in here, and I've got some more corky bark somewhere else, I think. So we're going to see what we can come up with. I'm going to try and find a tripod and angle this so you guys can see what I'm doing. Yeah, we'll be back shortly with that. So for the minute, you can have an aerial view of what I'm doing. Just give this substrate a nice drink. As I say, we do have plants going in here, so the plants will want some moisture. This has been left to dry out for quite a while since the last spider was in here, so it can take quite a bit of water for the moment. After this, we'll just be leaving it to dry out, and we'll basically be, well, we're adding enough water to keep the plants alive, which will then in turn provide enough humidity for the avic, because they do tend to prefer that bit more humidity. If I move over to my little box of tricks, and we'll see what we've got. I don't know if this will focus straight away, but let's have a look. You can see we have a lot of little springtails from the previous culture that this was in. That will all be going into here. And what I'll be doing, if I can, is I'll be using that as more of a flat on the back. So that basically gives me a bit of a background. And then in the other corner, Now, I don't find personally myself that avics ever really use a cork bark as a hide or what have you. What they typically do, and I'll show you in this other enclosure when we get the spider out, avics typically make like a web sock tunnel type thing, usually always on the roof of their enclosure. And I hope you can hear me whilst I'm faffing around with all this lot. I'll just stuff this out so it looks quite fairly natural, is the plan. Doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing will be perfect in life, least of all my enclosures. I'll try not to drop everything on the floor because, well, it doesn't really matter. I've got a hoover anyway. Stay there. Do as you're told, man. Crying out loud. Right, that doesn't want to stay there. That's fine. You don't stay there. You can go there. You can go there. I have... Now, this again is from a previous enclosure, and I've just been trying my best to keep it green and remotely alive looking. It's a nice bit of moss that I've foraged. So au naturel. There's all sorts of other bits growing inside this. And I'm just going to use some of these to stuff some of the holes and fill it in a little bit. This little plant here, if you can see that, that's actually an Anubia. It's an aquarium plant, but it will live out on land as long as it's got some moisture. So we're going to tuck that in there. Do I have more moss? We have more moss. And we can try and fill in these gaps and keep this all looking nice and natural. There's all these other little bits of wood, but they've all got tons of springtails in there. Now, I'm not entirely sure of the proper names of all of these plants that, well, I say all of them, there's only a couple of plants that I'll be putting in here. I believe that one of them is Tredscantia. I could be wrong. If you know, correct me down in the comments, please. And the other one is just, well, it's commonly known as a spider plant, and that's what I know it as. So, next. What's going in next? Let's do one of the spider plants, which I think is going to go in here. Make a bit of a hole for that. Dunk those roots down, pop that in there. That's that. Eventually it'll grow too big for this, but yeah, that's fine. Then next up, I kind of want one of the bigger bits of this, if I can find it. There are several to choose from in my little box of goodies. Find a bit with the roots. Who are you? Don't remember you. Stay for different project. So this one, which I've just accidentally broken, but that's fine. Doesn't really mind getting broken, it will just root everywhere else again. Sorry if I've moved that and you weren't seeing much there. Try and aim that so it will grow up the back. Hopefully. And one last thing here, give this all a good watering in. As I say, this has not, it's not had any water in it, and the substrate is very dry, so it needs a good soaking at the moment. But it's an exoterrace, it's an open top with a mesh lid, so evaporation will happen quite quickly. Excuse me gulping on squash, but it is quite hot. Right, I will move this camera around and give you a better view of what we've just done. So to get back to what I was saying about the WebSocket tunnely type things they make, the entrance to this one's burrow is just here. Ooh, there my finger is. And it basically lives in the whole of the ceiling area. Up here, it's just got a little, I don't know what you'd call it. It's not a nest, but that's where it lives. It's just like a big sock tunnel. Moving over here. So this is your front view of what this now looks like, and I'm quite happy with how that looks. I think that's quite nice. See all the plants down there. And we have some springtails as we showed earlier. That's all got in. And hopefully that plant will just climb up the back there, and the spider plant will fill out at the front. That's the plan. Right, let's see if we can get this other one out. Right, so hopefully you guys are able to see enough of what's going on. It's not easy for me to monitor when I'm trying to do stuff. We might end up with a spider come running out at us because I can't really see what I'm doing. Whoops. Oh, that was a bit more than I planned on doing. Let's just do that from there for a second. And you can see in there is our Avicularia. They're typically a fairly docile species, but I have definitely had threat poses, and I've had one nearly land on my face.
The carnivores are isolated in the interior of the island, so the team can stay on the outer rim. Don't worry, I'm not making the same mistakes again.
No, you're making.
Whoa! So even though they are a relatively docile New World species, I will still err on the side of caution. What I think I'll try to do, now that we've got this here, and it's coming out like that, I'm just going to try to offer this cork bark up into the new enclosure and gently try to coax the spider out. So I'll pop you guys back on here. Get that. That down there. How's that looking? You should be able to see what's going on from there. So as you can probably see there, I'm trying to angle this, where am I? Yep. There. It's not a huge spider. There was no great need for a rehouse apart from the enclosure that it has been in. It's just a bit old and untidy, and I had this exoterra. So let's try and get this in here. I do have a catch cup ready, just in case. Can I swing you around? I can't wait to move and get a room specifically for my spiders, and it will make all of this so much easier. Let's see if we can get this one out without threat poses or bolts. I mean, you can see all this one's really trying to do at this moment is hide. Come on. Where are you gonna? Oh, you're gonna try and get out of your little. Oh. You're going out of your little tunnel down there, are you? Go on then. Where have you gone? Why are you under there? There we are. I'm getting quite a good shot. You have a very plump bum. Oh, there we are. Straight up the top. I expect within probably a few days to a couple of weeks, pretty much all at the top of this is going to be like a web tunnel, web sock, like it was in the previous one. It may well use this little cork tube thing, but I doubt it, but we shall see. But that's how we're looking, and I don't think that's too bad. I just need to fill up the water dish, and I think we can call that a successful rehouse. Hey guys, so welcome back. It has been about a week since, no, it has been exactly a week today since I did this rehouse, so I thought I'd give you a little update and exactly what's been going on since then. Bear with me. And so this is where we are at so far. He or she, or I think a she, is currently down the back of the bit that I didn't think would get used at all. Doesn't seem to be interested in food because that mealworm's been there since yesterday. But you'll notice we have got some webbing. Ooh, where are we? We've got some webbing going on over there. For some reason, we also got a bit of webbing going on down here. And that's about it. It's mostly just been wandering around and spending a lot of time up in this corner. So this is probably actually where it's going to end up building its tunnel, I would have thought. But if it's not eating, possibly could be in pre-molt. So I'll get that little mealworm out there today. Anyway, yeah, that's your update. Thank you all for tuning into this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you like my little rehouse. Hope you like what I've done here with this enclosure. And I will see you guys again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.